Social media can be overwhelming for all of us. There are so many channels and conversations going on and fans and customers and complaints, and we have to manage all of that for ourselves, for our agencies, for our clients, for our brands. How do we stay on top of it? It could be a 24-hour-a-day job, but I've been fortunate in working in social media and working in communications to find some apps and sites and software that help manage all of these different aspects in this ever-changing world. These are the absolutely essential social media tools. As you heard, I'm Wade Kwon. I'm a consultant up in Birmingham. It's my pleasure to be here in Dothan for my first time ever to speak to the AAF chapter here, so thank you for having me. If you have questions, just raise your hand. Don't wait till the end. I'll be happy to take questions as they come up throughout the presentation. Got one right now.
Do you mind if we take pictures of your slides?
So the question is, do I mind if you take pictures? Now take as many pictures as you want of the slides of me. I'm happy to pose for you throughout the presentation. Don't be shy. Yeah.
Just joking. Just joking.
If you want a copy of the slides, these postcards at your tables have a link to the slides.
Great.
And later I'll post the video from today's presentation. So if you had a colleague or a peer that couldn't make it today, feel free to share that link with them. There'll be a worksheet there too, so there'll be outline of today's talk and some additional resources. You can see on screen my Twitter name's @WadeOnTweets. If you like using Twitter, feel free to tweet any of this presentation. You can tag me on Twitter. You can share it on any social media channel that you like. We're going to talk about 3 categories of apps to help you manage social media. The first one is scheduling apps. Tools that can help you schedule updates in advance. Some of you may not believe in scheduling ahead of time just because social media should be live, it should be interactive, it should be spontaneous. But we'll talk through it, and I'll show you some reasons why it's important to schedule ahead. Second category is link shorteners. Short links are the currency of social media. It makes it easier to share links to sites and videos and blog posts and so on. But there's a lot more you can do with them. In fact, that's the section that has my favorite tool of all. If I wasn't going to talk about any other tool, I would just focus on that one, and we'll get to that one in the middle section. And then the final category are apps that help you measure the numbers behind social media, metrics. You want to see the impact that your campaigns are having. You want to see the audience that you're reaching and what content works and what doesn't work so that you can adjust accordingly. So we'll take a deeper dive into the numbers and why that is particularly important. Our first category is apps that help you schedule social media. Again, some people don't use them because they want social media to be spontaneous, they want it to be interactive, they want it to be live, they want to be happening in real time. Let me put up a counter argument as a small business owner. I have limited hours in the day just like you, and I can't spend every minute in front of a desktop screen or a mobile phone screen monitoring social media. I've got to return calls and return emails and meet with clients and do research and write blog posts and wash the dishes and so on. So it's important to be able to reach my audience because I've got a lot of good content to share with them that can help them and inform them. And so a few minutes scheduling the night before, I can schedule out a day's worth of social media or a week's worth, and it goes out when they are on social media. And that way I can continue to provide a service to my audience even if I'm at a meeting speaking in front of other people. But that doesn't absolve me of my responsibility to interact with people on social media. If someone has a question, if someone has a complaint, if someone is trying to talk to me, I've got it set up so it'll alert me if there's a private message or an @reply or a comment on my Facebook page that I need to respond to. Now, I might not respond within 2 minutes, but I'm going to respond to their question or their complaint. And I think all brands should be responsive on social media. But this is a huge time saver in terms of scheduling content ahead of time if you're managing social media channels on behalf of clients, it may be a practical solution to managing all of their different channels, but also giving their audiences something to latch onto. So let's look at some apps that can help you with scheduling social media. The first one's Buffer. If you go to buffer.com, you can try it out for yourself. You can download the app for iOS or Android. There's a free level and a paid level. And very simply, you sign up for a free Buffer account, you connect it with one or more of your social channels, and then you can start scheduling social media updates. I've got it connected to LinkedIn and Twitter. So if I've got something related to business or communications or a workshop I'm giving, I'll send it to my LinkedIn audience. If it's for an audience in general, I'll send it to my Twitter audience. So it allows me to target based on the channel and the following and what I usually provide on each network. If you sign up for Buffer, like you go back to your office this afternoon and sign up for it, and you connect your Facebook page to it, you would set up a schedule on Buffer. So the schedule might be every weekday at 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m., because that's when you know your audience is going to be active on Facebook. And you've got this list of things you want to share. Blog posts and event reminders and photos and videos and links to important articles and funny things and other things that are relevant to that audience. And so as you put them in the queue, the first one might go out Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and then the next one will go out at noon tomorrow, and then 3 p.m. tomorrow, and 9 a.m. Friday, and so on. So it's really that simple. I mean, once you're connected, once you start filling up that queue, it'll just send it out on that predetermined schedule.
Is there a limit on how many times you can use like the same one? Say you want to find out the optimum time that people are looking at your post. Mm-hmm. So you want that you can schedule in the future. So you want to use it as like a test.
Sure.
So I want to do it like 4 different times today. I can do that. I mean, does that come with a paid level, or can you do that on the free?
So the question is, can you repeat posts and schedule them so you can figure out what the best time is when people click on it the most?
Right.
So the first part of that is there is a limit at the free level. I think it's around 10 to 15 updates. And then at the paid level I think you get unlimited. I'm at the free level, but I've been at the free level for years and it's done fine for me. But at the paid level you get unlimited updates. Okay. Second part of the question, you can schedule it multiple times in the day or throughout the week, and there's another tab on there for analytics, and it'll show you how many times someone clicked on that link. So it's got built-in analytics even at the free level, so you can track your performance, which is important because you want to know if people are responding to your offer or your link or your blog post or whatever you put out there. So here's an option to test content, to send it to specific audiences, to manage multiple channels, and to put it all on a predetermined schedule. Very simple to use, very reliable, definitely worth trying out. I'm going to recommend quite a few apps, and the reason why I suggest that you try each of them out is because each of you has a different workflow and different business goals and different organizations and different clients. And so what tool works for me or the next person may not work for your organization. And these are just a handful of the many tools out there. So if you stumble upon one that you really like, please email me and let me know about it, because I'm happy to try out new tools and recommend them as I cross paths with them. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this tool for scheduling, Hootsuite. It's one of the more popular ones out there. If you go to Hootsuite.com, you can try it out. There's a free app for iPhones and Android. There's a free level and a paid level. So there's some it's very similar to Buffer. How is it different from Buffer? Because you can use it to schedule updates, and you can schedule it for 10 minutes from now or tomorrow or next week or next month. But what differentiates Hootsuite from Buffer? The first thing is you can use Hootsuite as a monitoring tool. You can see on screen, like that first column on the left, those are scheduled Twitter updates. And then the next column, scheduled updates to go out on LinkedIn. And then the next column, it could be scheduled updates to go out on a Facebook page. But you can add columns within the display. So you could add a column for Twitter that shows the Twitter timeline, all the people that you're following on Twitter and what they're tweeting right now. You could add a column of @mentions so that every time someone mentions your username or your brand name on Twitter, it'll all appear in one column. You can put up another column searching a hashtag. You can put up another column for DMs, direct mentions, or direct messages, those private messages between 2 or more Twitter users. You could set up searches in another column. You could set up Twitter lists in another column. You could set up a column for your Facebook page. So every update that comes from your Facebook page is shown in that column. But also every time someone comments on an update or likes or shares something from your Facebook page, you can see it in that column. So the Hootsuite dashboard gives you an opportunity to monitor multiple social media channels, either for yourself or for your client, in one window. You don't have to have multiple tabs open to do it. You don't have to keep signing in and signing out of different social media channels. You just scroll left and right to get to each column. In addition to monitoring social media, you can interact. So if someone has a question on one of my Facebook posts, I don't have to open up another tab, log into Facebook, find the page, scroll down the page to find the update, scroll down through the comments to find that person's comments, and then respond. I can do it directly within Hootsuite. As you can imagine, that's a huge time saver, because instead of having to keep track of multiple logins and sign in and out of different accounts, I can manage it all from Hootsuite. It's very reliable, and it's very efficient. The second way that Hootsuite differs from Buffer is at the paid level, you can have co-managers for social media. So if you're part of a department or a team that manages multiple social media channels, they can also have access to Hootsuite under their own usernames and help manage different Facebook pages and LinkedIn accounts and Twitter accounts and Instagram and so on. So if you co-manage with someone in your department or someone down the hall or in another building or in another zip code or another time zone, this makes it easier to coordinate your efforts. If someone comes in with a question on social media and you need to delegate it to someone else on your team, you can do so. If you're going off shift and the next person is coming on shift, you can have continuity of service so that the users who are following your social media channels have a seamless customer service experience. So at the paid level, you can add team members and coordinate with them within Hootsuite. So you can use it as a monitoring listening tool, and that's at the free level. You can use it as a management tool across your department or across multiple departments or with a third-party vendor. There's a lot of power built into Hootsuite, as you can see. It's definitely worth trying out. There are a lot of features with it, and it's definitely aimed at bigger organizations.
Just curious, the cost for the paid version?
You know, I'm not sure. The question is, how much is the paid version? Does anyone use the paid version of Hootsuite? Yes.
We do. It depends. It's one of those services that you can spend as little as about $200 a year and then add on, if you want to add users, it could be an additional $10 a month, but you pay it annually. Or if you want to run contests or things like that, it could be another $100 a month, paid annually. So you can spend as much money as you want, but you can get started for probably $200.
Great, thank you.
You happy with it?
Yeah, well, it's great. We use it, like you talk about the social listening, we monitor hashtags within a 50-mile radius of our office. So anytime somebody says marketing or design or creativity or logo or whatever, like we know who they are, so that we can choose to reach out and talk to them. And just for the social listening aspect, it's great.
Tweet something on those hashtags right now, and they'll respond. That's a great use of the tool. So as you can see, there are multiple entry points in terms of price level. But you can try it out for free, and if it's a good fit, you can start to investigate whether or not you need those paid features. The last scheduling tool is Social Oomph, and I'm willing to bet that most of you have not heard of it. Like the first two, paid level, free level, you can connect it to your social media, you can schedule social media in advance. You can go to socialoomph.com to try it out. There's no app, so if you want to try it out on your phone, just open your browser and go to that URL. There's one reason why I included this among the tools, and again, like the other tools, I've used this for years. I use it on a regular basis. If you are big into Twitter, if you use Twitter a lot, this has a great feature. if you use Twitter, you know that you can search through Twitter at any point. You can search through your own name, or your CEO's name, or your brand name, names of your products and services, names of your competitors, hashtags. If you're at an event, you can search for the event hashtag. You can get a lot of real-time data the moment you search. Whether you're searching from the app on your phone or you're searching from your laptop, you can pull up real-time information about what people are talking about. You can search current events, debates, football games, and so on, and you get some really good information out of it. The problem is tomorrow, you got to run all those searches again. So it's not very efficient. What SocialLoop does is you sign up for a free account, and you connect it to your Twitter account, and those same searches you save in SocialLoop. Once a day, it'll run those searches. It'll compile all the tweets that match those searches and put it in a digest and email it to you. So your agency can go on SocialLoop and search for those hashtags, put in that geographic targeting, and it'll compile all those tweets for you and send it to whatever email address you want to. That's a great way to get market research for free, for the cost of setting up a free account and spending a few minutes getting the searches programmed in there. So every day I get a digest of mentions of my company, my event, hashtags and topics that I'm interested in, competitors' names, research for clients, and so on. And I can scan through that email, and I can go and pull up that individual tweet and respond to people or answer their question. If I don't have time during the day, I can save up the digest and just skim through them at the end of the week. But that's valuable market research coming to you every day, and you don't have to do anything except open your inbox. That's an incredibly valuable, powerful feature, and it's free. And you can do a lot with it. I mean, when I'm on Twitter, usually I can see when people mention me or link to my post or so on, but if I miss one, this is my backstop, and I can go back through and thank people for sharing my posts, or respond to their questions, or retweet what they're saying as well. I encourage you to just try it out, because I think it's a great feature, and it's one that just a lot of people don't know about. Even if you're just a casual Twitter user, putting in the right searches that are relevant for your brand and its goals might pull in the right data in terms of what campaigns you should be doing or what power users you should be connecting with. So you've got Buffer, Hootsuite, and SocialLoop for scheduling apps. There are a lot more out there, but this is at least a starting point. Link shorteners are valuable in their own right, and short links are the currency of social media. You take a 100-character URL or 200-character URL and you shorten it down to 15 to 20 characters. That's important. It's especially important because on a phone screen, that's valuable real estate. And so you don't want to take up the entire screen with a link that's hard to copy and paste and click on and so on. You want to make it as easy as possible for your mobile users. But there's a lot more you can do with short links. I promised you that this is the section that has my favorite app, and I'll tell you more about it and why it goes beyond just shortening links. That app is Bitly. You can try it out right now at bit.ly. You can download the app for iOS or Android. It's free. There's a free level and a paid level, and very simply put, anyone, whether you have an account or not, can go to Bitly, paste in a long URL, and get a short URL. And that's it. End of story. But there's a lot more you can do with this tool. Let me walk you through some of those features. If you sign up for a free account, it will save all of the links that you shorten in Bitly. So it'll create an archive of all the links that you're shortening. For me, that's important because I've got a lot of blog content that I refer back to and reshare and use as evergreen content and so on. I mean, I've got 6,000 or 7,000 posts that I have to sift through at any point, and this makes it easier to find them and get the short link and share it with my audience. So you can create an archive of your content, all shortened with Bitly links. If you sign up for a free account, when you create a Bitly link, it's bit.ly/123ABC. It's just some string of letters and numbers. If you sign up for a free account, you can customize that keyword at the end of it. As you've seen on your postcard, it's bit.ly/AAF Dothan. That's very easy to remember, and it's straightforward. You know what you're going to get out of it. It's related to today's AAF meeting. When you shorten links in Bitly, you can create some anticipation and arm your followers with knowledge ahead of time, because they know it might go to a video, or it might go to a blog post, it might go to a white paper, it might go to an ebook. You can take the guesswork out of it. And you can add some branding value in that space, however you designate it. You know, I could have just as easily created multiple short links. bit.ly/AAF Dothan video with a link to today's video. AAF Dothan/slides, and take you to the slides, and so on. But for the cost of nothing, you can customize that keyword to whatever you need it to. And if you're running multiple phases of a campaign, you can name each phase with a different Bitly link. If you sign up for a free account, not only can you customize the keyword at the end, you can also customize the domain name. If you look at the big brands on social media, like let's take the New York Times and Huffington Post. These are big media outlets, and if you see the short links that they share on social media, you'll see that it's typically shortened with their own brand name. New York Times is NY Times, nytim.es/ABC123. Huffington Post, I think it's huffpo.com/letters and numbers. You know that if you click that link, you're going to go to an article on the New York Times site, or a video on the New York Times site, or an article on the Huffington Post, or a video on the Huffington Post. And every person that shares that link extends their brand to those hundreds or thousands of followers. The beauty of Bitly is, for signing up for a free account and getting your own short URL, you can do the exact same thing. I've got my own domain name, which I've used for years, It's Wade, itswa.de, and people who are connected with me on social media, they know that if I share a link like that, it's something I've written, or a video I'm in, or something I've contributed or created, or something that I've had a hand in. And so it's going to take them to one of my sites or one of my creations. And so every link that I share through Bitly has its weight at the beginning of it. It cost me about $8 to renew that domain this year. And again, I'm still on the free plan on Bitly. So I'm getting a lot of brand value for that one domain name, and setting it up years ago. It probably took me about 10 minutes to set it up in Bitly. If you go back to your office this afternoon and get a custom domain name and set it up, it probably won't take you more than 15 or 20 minutes. But then every link you share from that point forward will have your brand name built into the URL.
For those of us who are a little slow, so I have a domain name that ends with .com now.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to this site or use this app, and I can actually change that so that it has the name of my company rather than .com.
Well, it depends on what your domain name. The question is, can you use your own domain name that it exists right now? So if your domain name is walmart.com and you sign up for Bitly, then every Bitly link you share from that point on will be walmart.com/ABC123. So it depends on what URL that you own or buy later on. We can go more into it later on in terms of the technical details and so on. The important thing to remember is, whatever domain name you pick, you can use it for your Bitly link shortener instead of Bitly, the generic name. Beyond that, if you sign up for a free account, you can not only customize the keyword at the end and the domain name at the beginning, you can use them both in tandem. You saw on the postcard, It's Wade/AAF Dothan. That's a prime example of that. You could set that up for your own company. You could set it up for each one of your clients. You can get a lot of power out of that for a few bucks and a few minutes time on Bitly. That's a lot of branding power in a link that's extremely short. And it's something that your followers and users and customers will remember and appreciate. But you think about it, It's Wade/AAF Dothan. I didn't have to put it on a postcard. I could have just told you, you could have jotted it down. You could text it to a friend or tweet it out. It's pretty simple to remember. As you come up with these custom domain names and keywords, you can put them in your emails, you can put them on a bumper sticker, you can put it in a TV commercial, you can put it in a banner ad, put it on a t-shirt. I mean, as long as it's short and memorable, people will be able to key it into their browser and get to the link that you're trying to share. And that's the point of it, is to make it easier on our fans and followers. There's another feature in Bitly that I'm going to review real quick. So the Bitly link on screen, Bitly 1UE NXX6, it goes to an article on the Tuscaloosa News. The moment you create any Bitly link, it starts tracking statistics behind how many times it's clicked. Statistics like where in the world it was clicked on and what social media channel it came from and what day or time of day it was clicked on. And if you want to get to those stats, you just add the plus sign to any Bitly link. So if you go to bit.ly/1UENXX6 plus, it'll pull up this screen and it'll show you the statistics behind that link. If you find one of those New York Times or Huffington Post short links, you can add a plus sign and see the metrics behind it. If you consistently use Bitly, you can measure the impact of your content with your audience over time. You could keep those statistics on a spreadsheet and start to better understand what time of day, what day of the week, what topics matter most to your audience. There's ultimate transparency built into these links, which means that whatever link I create in Bitly, any one of you can pull up the statistics for it. If you create one, anyone in this room can pull it up, your competitors can pull up those statistics and so on. So it's not secret, it's not something you can keep to yourself, but it is a tool that you can use to measure the impact that you're having with your content. And you don't have to do anything beyond shorten the link in Bitly. That's why I recommend this tool so much. It's why I beg audiences to at least try it out, because there's so many features built in. I've gotten so much value of it. I've never gone to the paid level, never had to. Paid level, you get more features, more metrics, and so on. But just try it out at the free level and see if some of these features don't make your job easier in terms of reaching your audience. Another link shortener is Owly. You can go to owl.ly right now to try it out. It's the one that's tied to Hootsuite. But you don't have to have a Hootsuite account. You can go pull it up right now and start shortening links. If you do have a Hootsuite account, all of your links are shortened through Owly. And if you have a Hootsuite account, you can see the statistics behind each of your links to see the impact that it's having. But I mention it simply because for those of you who are already using Hootsuite, you're already familiar with Owly. It's just one of the more popular ones out there. So if you see an Owly link in social media, you know it's because it's typically coming from a Hootsuite user. We can't talk about the digital world without mentioning Google. Google has its own link shortener. You go to goo.gl and you can try it out. It's free. You don't have to have an account. If you do have an account, it'll save all the links you create through Google into one archive so you can go back and find them. Like Bitly, it's got a couple of extra bells and whistles that I'll walk you through. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you are familiar with QR codes? So if you've never heard of them, they're just fancy barcodes. You can scan them with your phone or your tablet or your computer, and typically it'll take you to a URL. But it could also be text, it could also be an email address, and so on. That's a real QR code on screen. You can scan it right now. I think it goes to a video. But in Google, you can create as many QR codes as you want to. Like that link on screen, Google/CNI-Q39. I think it'll take you to a video. It created that QR code. All you do is add .QR to the end of any Google link. And it'll display a QR code on screen. You can download it, and then you can use that image to put on business cards or brochures or pamphlets. Again, you can use it in a banner ad, you can use it in a print ad, you can use it in a campaign, and so on. So as many ideas that you have for short links, you can also use for QR code, especially like with a mobile audience. If you have an event set up and you want people to scan to check in or to register for a drawing or to see some promotional information, this is one way that you can guide them to the link that you want to take them to. Like Bitly, Google Links have statistics built into them the moment you create them. With Bitly, you add the plus sign at the end of a Bitly link. With Google Links, you add .info. Google Links, if you add .info to the end of it, you get a screen of statistics that show you when it was clicked on, where it was clicked on, what social channel referred them to it, and so on. You have that same transparency as Bitly links. So if I create a Google link, any one of you can pull up the statistics behind it. If you create a Google link, I can pull up statistics, so can your competitors, and so on. But Google Links, I mean, they're similar to Bitly in that you can have an account, you can create as many as you want to, you can set up an archive for them. Bitly and Google Links are similar, but as I pointed out with Bitly, you got a lot of branding power if you set up your custom domain and if you use that customized keyword at the end of it. I really strongly encourage you to try out Bitly, but I wanted to see the Owly links and the Google links just because you may run across them in social media and you might wonder how they were built and what else you can do with them. So it goes beyond just link shortening. You don't do it just as a service to your readers. You can pull in some statistics and understand your audience better and create QR codes and build in some branding into those short links. That's a lot more than advertised with link shorteners. So we've got scheduling apps, we've got link shorteners. Last category I want to talk about is metrics. I work in numbers every day. They're very important to measuring impact in advertising in each campaign that you launch. Before I went into consulting, I worked in journalism, specifically print journalism, but also some online outfits, newspapers and magazines and websites and so on. I spent a few years at Southern Living magazine up in Birmingham, and I was an editor and I was a special projects manager. One of those special projects was the annual readers poll, which is just this mammoth undertaking, but it ran like clockwork. Before I got there, it had been running for 10 or 11 years. All I was doing was just keeping it intact and making sure it went to press on time and just keeping it afloat. All I had to worry about was not sinking the ship. But I noticed that we'd have tens of thousands of people enter this thing. It used to run in the magazine as a print ballot, and people would mail it in. And then it evolved to the web, and people would just fill out the ballot online, and it'd be a lot quicker. It'd be a lot easier on our end to process all of this. But I noticed that we weren't really digging into the data. We knew who the top 3 in each category was. So like best mountain resort, best beach, best seafood restaurant, best barbecue restaurant, and so on, throughout the Southeast. But we didn't know who was in 4th through 10th place, or we didn't care about it for some reason. And now last night they announced the top 4 college football teams and the playoff rankings. But a lot of people are talking about 5 through 10 because at least one other team in this state is included in that top 10. And it's a long way between now and the SEC championship game and the playoffs that people can move up and down those rankings, right? It's not set in stone. There's going to be a lot of shuffling between now and then. Well, it's important to know who is in 4th through 10th place in our readers poll because in future years, those might be the winners that we feature in the magazine. And those are obviously the places that readers care about. So if we start researching them now, it'll be a lot easier in the long run. But we weren't even asking questions about the zip codes that they came from, or the households, or the demographics, or the states, or the cities, what won in each city, or what the voting patterns were, or none of that. We didn't ask the most important question of all, which is why did this person fill it out, and why did this person fill it out, and why did this person fill it out? Because one person might have been bored at work for 10 minutes, and one person just really wanted to win the grand prize, which was a trip for 4, and another person wanted to really show off a restaurant in their hometown that they were really proud of and wanted that restaurant to win the Reader's Poll. So I dug through the surveys, I dug through the data, I started looking at all this information that we just ignored for one reason or another. And it was very valuable, not only for our readers, but internally as well. But we really wanted to solve the question, what motivated people to fill out the ballot? Because if we solve that question, we could get more people to fill out the ballot. We could get more people to participate, more traffic to the website, more people buying single copies of the magazine, more people invested in the outcome, more advertising dollars at stake. After I started digging into it and starting implementing all of this stuff, we went from 33,000 participants to 47,000 in the span of 1 year. So we jumped like 30% in participation, and it's all because we started looking carefully at the numbers behind our campaign and tried to understand them. When I took over the Reader's Choice Survey, this was in the era before social media, so we couldn't just blast it out on Facebook. We couldn't just put it on Twitter or MySpace or any other social network out there. We only could rely on the magazine itself and our website and the other promotional channels that we would typically use. The reason why I talk about metrics in its own category is because you need to be able to find the numbers behind your campaigns, understand them, and act on them. You want people to jump at the chance to be on your social channel, to share your content, to click on the links, and to be a living, interactive member of your social community. The first two apps that I want to talk about are built into the social channels. The first one is Facebook. If you have a Facebook page, it already has analytics built into it. And if you're logged into Facebook and you're on that page, you click on the analytics tab at the top, and it'll show you the likes and the shares and the videos you've shared and the reach and the engagement and so on. And if you're like most Facebook page owners, you're seeing some pretty dismal statistics from your Facebook page. That's okay, because that's how Facebook wants it. They want you to advertise. They want you to pay to boost posts and run campaigns. But most social channels don't have such rich metrics built into it. And so if you will look for them and study them, you at least have a jumping off point, so that if you decide to invest money in advertising on Facebook, you already know what content works, what content doesn't work, which posts and videos and photos had the most reach and engagement among things that you've shared organically. The same can be said for Twitter. Twitter has its own set of analytics built into every single user account. When you're logged into Twitter, just go down to the settings screen and pick analytics, and it'll take you straight there. Most of you have probably never looked at the analytics behind your Twitter account or your client's Twitter accounts, and there's a lot of important information in terms of number of tweets, impressions, who clicked on it, who are your biggest followers, who's the most important person who shared it within the last 30 days, and so on. They used to limit these analytics in Twitter just to the high rollers. So if you spent like $10,000 or more per month in Twitter advertising, you got to see the statistics. But a couple of years ago, they opened it up to everyone. Use that data so that you can understand what's working with your Twitter audience and whether or not you need to invest in advertising on Twitter. Both Facebook and Twitter allow for specific targeting of audiences based on geography and demographics and so on. And so again, these can be important tools in your social campaigns, whether it's brand awareness or lead generation or straight up e-commerce and sales. But I mentioned Facebook and Twitter because they're native to the channels. They're built into it, and all you have to do is pull them up and study them over time. The last two are third-party apps, and they're apps that we've talked about. The first one is Bitly. Bitly has its own analytics screen, and if you save multiple links in Bitly, it'll track its performance over hours and days and weeks. And if you reshare Bitly links, it'll track new clicks to those links. It's going to track its performance over time. It's going to show you by geography, by country. It's going to show you by referring channel. It's a way to measure the impact of your content over time. It's built into Bitly at the free level, so you don't have to worry about getting into a paid account to be able to track some of this information. Hootsuite also offers analytics built into both the free level and the paid level. At the free level, you get a couple of reports. They're standard reports, and they're usually only about one channel, either your Facebook page performance or your Twitter account performance or your LinkedIn performance. At the paid level, you get multiple reports, and you can use the standard ones or you can customize them. With the reports in Hootsuite, you can schedule them so that they run once a week or once a month. You can save them, you can download them, you can email them to other team members or people who are not on Hootsuite. So if your boss needs to keep track of your campaign performance but doesn't have a Hootsuite account, you can still send the report to him or her. Hootsuite, breaking it out by channel, allows you to see how your content is performing by channel. Bitly, you're able to see how your content is performing over time. If you use both of these services in tandem, you start to get a deeper understanding of your audience behavior and what content actually works with different segments of that audience. Again, the point of being able to use these apps, whether native to the channel or third-party apps, is to start to look at the numbers, to understand when you send out content, when you send out links and videos, what is actually being engaged with, what is piercing the consciousness of your audience, what's helping them solve problems and overcome obstacles. You use this data to build a picture of your audience profile and to be able to gauge them more accurately and more easily down the road. So each of you has a postcard from Y'all Connect, and again, it has the URL with the slides, the worksheet, and later on, a video from today's talk, which you're welcome to share with your colleagues. There's also information about the conference. This is a digital marketing conference I put on once a year in Birmingham. The next one is August 11th. We've got the venue set up. We've got some of the speakers set up. We'd love to see you in Birmingham for the day. We feed you breakfast. We feed you lunch. There's great networking. And we bring in some really smart speakers from across the country who can answer tons of questions and challenges about what you're doing with blogging, with email marketing, with social media, and with other digital outreach. So I encourage you to check it out at y'allconnect.com. I've got extra postcards. If you want to take one to a colleague, just come see me afterwards. If you have questions and you don't think of them today, just contact me at the information on the postcard. I'm happy to take your questions on Twitter or by email. There's a contact form on the website. You never know what you're going to run into as you start to use some of these tools and as social media evolves and you're trying to reach the audience and trying to figure out what apps are going to work best for what your needs are right now. So don't be shy about asking me questions down the road. In managing social media, we looked at apps for scheduling in advance, we looked at apps for shortening links, we looked at apps to dig into the numbers. Do not forget the two most important tools in managing social media: your heart and your mind. Your heart allows you to respond with empathy and keep track of the fact that the other person at the other end of that screen is another human being who's also struggling with social media. Your mind allows you to be clever, to think outside of the box, and to meet any problem that comes up head on. Because when you work in social media, you never run out of problems on a daily basis. The best thing about these two tools, your heart and your mind, they're with you at all times, they're always on, and they're always getting better. And they're free. With all of these tools, try them out, see if they work for you, and make sure that they help you manage that tidal wave of social media content and challenges and evolution so that you can engage your audience better and make a bigger impact on the world around you. Thank you.